Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for another process video. I occasionally do this where I will kind of show you how I took a kit, how I pulled stuff from my stash from different manufacturers, and show you what I'm going to use before I get started on my creation. I have had quite a few guys tell me that you like that because you like to see how I think, my thought process on how I pull from my stash to go with different manufacturers. So in this case, I'm using the Studio Calico for the All About Me Project Life album that I'm doing. This is the June 2021 kit called These Are the Days. And here is what I'm going to be using. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know that I'm being pretty consistent using this sticker that was for the whole year subscription that I had with them. And I'm using that on some transparency paper. And then because this blue, very odd, is, I mean, look at that. It's a very unique blue. It's a completely different, almost like there was a little whoopsie, and they just kept going with it. But I'm gonna use it because I have to, because it's gonna be consistent with my album. So this blue is very different from anything else in this kit. However, I did see that it matched this card. So I definitely wanna use this for this pocket page spread. And then how I go about pulling from my stash, I cannot stress enough that I take the most colorful item in a collection and I look at all the colors that I can use, and that is how I start pulling from different manufacturers that I, whether it be brads, enamel dots. So that is what I'm going to do based on these two cards. That is how I pulled from my stash, okay? And those are ones that I like so far. And then from this one, I do like this side. Now, these are all the 4x6s that came with it. And I like this one as well. I'm not going to use them all, but I definitely gave myself some options. Here's the little 3x4 cards that I thought worked well for this layout. And I'm just kind of showing you really quick because, like I said, this is not based on like what is inside the kit. I just kind of wanted you to get an idea of what I'm going to use. The chipboard pieces, I got the stickers and I got some labels, so I have those. Now let me just kind of remove all this to the side, and this is how I start pulling. Now I'm doing a little challenge in my Scrap With Your Stash Facebook group. And it was where you needed to pull brads, washi tape, stickers, wood veneers, and stamps to go with any creation that you're creating. So here is going to be my sticker sheet. I could not decide which ones I was going to use, so I just grabbed some that I kind of just want to finish up using and kind of get this sticker sheet done. So I have those. This one really works well with this one. So I have this one by Dear Lizzie. And then I grabbed some puffy stickers by Amy Tangerine that I thought went really well with this. Here are my brads. Yes, it's kind of a lot. I'm only going to probably use 1 or 2 or 3, but at least I have options on each packet of which ones I want to use. So there's that. My as I just dropped it. My washi tape. I'm going to mainly use this one, but I have this one that I got from Studio Calico a long time ago that are just dots, but there's only so many times I could really use this, and I think I'm going to use this a couple more times, and I'm probably going to pass it on to somebody else because that's a lot of the same dots over and over again. Now, because they only give out a few 4x6s, and that's with every company that I've ever tried their Project Life. I always tend to go to my 6x6 paper pads. I decided to use this one by Doodlebug called Cream and Sugar, and you're probably going, what, Desiree, how are you? This is it's all about coffee and cakes and pastries and stuff like that, and the layout I'm going to be doing today is all about a beach, but I'm looking at the colors such as something like this that would go well with this with these colors right here. There's also got some good little cut apart sheets that I can use, some polka dots, and then they have solid. So this is really what I was kind of honing in on, is the solid part of it, because that could just pull from any color. Even this one I think is great. So it's not so much the ones that I'm going to use with the pastries and the cups and the chocolates on that, but it's like the plaids and the polka dots and the stripes and the grids, I think are all really good. Even this one, if I do a 4x6 paper, or not 4x6 paper, a 4x6 picture, which I usually tend to print out like more of a 3.5x5. It's going to be very little as far as the border, so you're not going to really see what that print is that is muted on this paper, which is the pastries and the drinks. So there's my 6x6 paper pad. I showed you guys my kit. And as far as my wood veneers, because I am working on a PL spread, I looked through my little wood veneer. So this is all I have for small wood veneer. So I'm going to find something in here that's going to meet the challenge. All right, guys, let me go ahead and put you on fast forward. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hey, my scrappy friends, welcome back to my channel for another process video. Today I'm going to be working on my Project Life spread, and I'm going to be documenting the month of June using the Studio Calico June 2021 kit. Now, I know you're probably wondering, Desiree, June is not over, so why are you documenting it? Well, since I started this project, one thing, especially how I designed the pocket sleeves, is I am using a transparency paper, and I'm using the sticker that comes in with the whole subscription of Studio Calico 2021 sticker, like monthly stickers. And so anytime, I really can't add an additional pocket page spread. I mean, I could, but I really want it to be very consistent of, you know, the sticker showing through all the way through the album. And the only way to add more pictures is using, all I know is Simple Stories that makes these, where there are additional pocket sleeves where, you know, individual size of 4x6s or 3x4s, and you can just adhere them to whatever sleeve that size that you're working on. And so in the past, I've only needed to do that maybe once or twice because I really am at work, and the hustle and bustle of just taking my kids to all activities, I don't get a lot of photos taken. But now that I'm on break, I am definitely taking a ton of photos. And I realized I've been off work now for about a week, maybe even a little bit over a week. And I gotta say that I have been to the beach probably about 4 or 5 times so far, and I've only been off work, what, 8 days now? So I definitely have a ton of photos of the beach, and I thought, you know what, instead of documenting like date night or anything like that, I want to document what my paradise is, which is obviously the beach. Whether we go with family or friends, we are always there. And it's just our way to kind of get away and just be kind of at peace listening to the ocean. My husband and I just love the sound of the ocean and just watching our kids. I love watching my son surf, and I love, you know, collecting shells with my daughter. So right here on this day in particular, it's actually 2 days. That very last picture is just our most recent one. And as I was going through the kit, I had already pre-planned kind of probably about 10 cards that I want to use. I usually pick about 10 3x4s and then narrow it down from there. And then I grab a couple of 4x6s, and I do try to use for my 6x6 paper pad because we just don't get enough 4x6s, and that's with any company. I don't know why they do that. I think it's because we usually tend to print 4x6 photos, which kind of replaces some of those cards that would go in a 4x6 sleeve. All right, so first thing I want to do is, and I kind of already discussed this in the very intro, if you watched that, if you didn't, that's okay, because I said you could skip ahead. But I want to pick the most colorful item, whether it be a card, whether it be a sticker, something that has all the colors that I possibly could use onto this pocket page spread, so I'm not limiting myself just to 1 or 2 colors. Now, I know there's like rules where they say just pick out 2 or 3 colors. I'm a rebel. I break the rules. I want to use what I want to use, and in this case, I am definitely going to make this the most colorful layout, which I think it turns out, it's probably one of my new favorite layouts. So I'm definitely picking out a ton. So I'm looking through my 6x6 paper pad, and I already have a big 4x6 pink card that says Happy Summer. You saw me put down the washi tape that I use. So, you know, actually, let me back up a little bit here. If you guys follow me with my Scrap with Your Stash and you didn't watch the intro of the 5-minute, like me talking about the whole kit and everything that I was using and how I grabbed my stash. I have a challenge going on in my Scrap With Your Stash group, and it was 5 things that you got to use, and it was Brad's, let me see if oh wait, do I have it still on? I do. Brad's washi tape, stickers, wood veneers, and stamps. So I picked that washi tape with a black and white polka dot. I just thought it was a good contrast since I already am going up against a lot of colors. Next, I went into that Amy Tangerine ephemera pack, and I grabbed, again, went through all of them, picked out ones that I thought would work, and that's what I'm trying to do. I thought I was going to use that sleeve up there on the Life in Color, but when I pop out all the little dots that were remaining on that sleeve, I didn't like how the color was kind of coming through. I actually prefer that to be kind of solid on the background, whether I use mixed media or something, so I didn't like that. So I prefer this leaf a lot more because it is solid, and it's not going up against, you know, all those colors. And so I thought I was going to use that one, and I'm going to put down the picture. However, I am going to change my mind. Excuse me, I am so sorry. I still have that. I don't know if it's the weather. My husband swears I have allergies, and he's probably right because I'm sneezing all the time. But it's the allergies that are just like killing my throat right now. All right, so I thought about using that sleeve, and then I was like, wait a minute. I have all of these labels that I need to use from this kit. I need to make sure that I'm using those as well. So that is where I try to find balance of, especially if you are a kit subscriber and yet you want to try to get through your stash. I try to use as much as I can from the kit, but I also try to pull 1 or 2, if you know, or more items from my stash to kind of, you know, balance it, and so where I'm using the new stuff that I got and I'm using old stuff from my stash. Now granted, this kit is not new. It was when I was a subscriber last year. I was subscribed to him for the whole year, and I didn't subscribe again because I never broke open those kits. It was kind of intimidating to me, to where I felt like I was kind of limited on how to use those kits, but I got over that really quickly when I came up with this idea of the All About Me page. All right, so a challenge number, the challenge in my group, the second item that I mentioned was stamps. That was one of the items that you had to use. So I'm definitely making sure I have some stamps that I want, that I could use, and what better way to stamp on things than on a label. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to add a little bit of layering here. It's not going to be too much. I think you guys all know me. I love, like, for instance, Shamel. She is the layer queen. There's like quite a few other people too that can layer up, and man, I try, and there's sometimes where I can do really good, but most of the time I don't. So I just add a couple layers here, and then I kind of move on. All right, so now I think I'm going to start working on that picture of my son where he's walking down the steps with his surfboard. Oh, no. Aha. I'm adding my third my third item to this challenge, which is wood veneer. So very easy, just added an arrow so that way it pointed to the picture of my husband and I that says adore this moment. I definitely adore it. It was just a great picture of my husband and I, and so I wanted to definitely point that arrow to us. All right, in this little embellishment by Amy Tangerine, there was this go with the flow of water drop, and I was like, I have to include this because we're at the beach, and it is so true. When we go to the beach, it is just something very, relaxing, right? Like I said, it's the sound of the ocean, it's the waves. I hear kids laughing, and just, you know, watching families and even young teens just hanging out, and I'm just so at peace there. So with this go with the flow is exactly how our days are when we do go to the beach. We just go with the flow, and whatever happens, whatever happens. Now, I'm being very indecisive right here, and I almost cut this part out, but I rather it be fully in here so that way I could talk to you. I wasn't sure if I wanted to add pink or that peach. I ended up going with the pink. I think I might even come back to that peach one more time, but I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and add the different shades of pink, since that's kind of more of a stronger color that is appearing a lot more in this layout. And then I go back to those labels because, again, I want to use more of those labels up. And so I just go ahead and glued a piece down with my ATG gun, just because I knew I was going to be very indecisive. Like, I knew I wasn't going to get it on straight, and then I knew I wasn't going to have as much as I wanted on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down, and then I'm going to go cut that half off. I am going to put it to a side because I'm going to use it again, just again, to have that consistency throughout my layout. So I'm going to use it for my daughter's picture as well. So when I have a label, what better way to add more stamps? That kind of goes with my challenge. This one says more of this, and so I'm going to definitely do a couple trial runs. That way I get a good impression before I put it down on my label, because it is already down on the picture. However, with the ATG gun, I'm able to take that label off if I was to mess up. But I didn't. Everything went out perfect. And then voila, more of this, because I mean, my son, it's more of this for him. He's always wanted to go to the beach to go surfing. And he's just started surfing the past couple years, and because we don't live by the coast, so it's not every day. So anytime he can bring a surfboard, he's all for it. Off camera, I did take that other label and I did pick out the shell collector, since she's got a shell. And then I thought, you know what, I have those puppy stickers by Amy Tangerine. Let me go ahead and add that seashell. Now I'm going to look at some of the flowers, and I'm going to find this orange one. However, in the picture, I think in the final picture, you're going to see that changed. Looks what's right there on the left. Actually, my thumb just brushed over it. That blue that I just talked about, how there isn't anymore in my in that Studio Calico kit. I'm going to realize that, I think, when I wave goodbye and call it good and I start putting away my scrapbook items that I pulled. I realized, oh my gosh, right there's that blue. So I take off that orange flower that's on my son's label on his picture, and I'm going to cut that out. Now, I went through my stash and I found this ticket by Maggie Holmes. It's not on white cardstock. It definitely has a cream base, but it was that blue again. And I thought, oh, I can definitely use that and layer that up. But I ended up not using it. All right, so I kind of rearrange go with the flow, and then the rainbow border where I'm going to have my journaling. I rearrange it because I think of the blue needing to be a triangle, and then I thought about it a few minutes later, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't want the rainbow card next to another rainbow card, so I am going to go ahead and put that back on the right hand side. All right, so then again, going through the Amy Tangerine ephemera, I grabbed that leaf. I thought it was perfect, very tropical. I don't live in Hawaii, but I do live in San Diego, where there are a ton of palm trees. We are known for our palm trees and beach, so it just gave all the beachy vibes. I found this card stock in my stash that was kind of like that blue of the water drop, and so that's why I did a very thin border. And let me back up a little bit here. I didn't talk about how I picked the background for that 4x6 card that I'm working on right now. That is, again, from that Cream and Sugar 6x6 paper pad. It was black and white hearts with a couple of colorful, so rainbow hearts that were solid. So it had the pinks and the yellows, and it was so subtle that it ended up working beautifully with this spread. All right, so now I'm adding more wood veneer, so that one by itself just doesn't look like it's all lonely on the spread. I went through my stash and I came across this flower. I only had one, so the bottom flower is going to be different, but that doesn't bother me. I did 2 flowers. I felt like it was very tropical. It kind of reminded me, as soon as I put it down, I was like, oh my gosh, I miss Kauai, I miss my sister, and I miss my nephew, my brother-in-law. So I put that down, and I definitely like the looks of that. Off camera, I am going to go ahead and do my journaling. I am going to include it, but there are going to be parts that are going to be blacked out just because it gives like too much point of location, and so I rather just kind of hide that, but my journaling is all there. I'm going to work on this card. I forgot that this was in here as well. I just felt like that water drop was kind of plain, so I thought, let me just go ahead and trace a little bit of border around this, since there already is a rainbow border on the other card, and that's just drawing little doodle lines and calling it good. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down, and when I'm done, I don't know if I add anything else. I'm trying to look to see. I thought about adding enamel dots, but I felt like it became a little too much because I could only do it on just a couple of certain cards, which actually is probably just one, and that is the of my husband and I down by the 4x6. So I decided against doing that. All right, everybody, this is coming to an end, so I just want to thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you being here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to my channel, I do hope you consider subscribing. I would love to have you here, and you all have an amazing day. Talk to you soon. Bye.